is our YouTube video for LED.
Again.
Again! That's from a pinball. What pinball? Again!
Several.
Yeah, several.
At least No Fear.
No Fear, yeah, that's right. The loop shot.
Right, it's from something else.
But no, this is season 4, episode 3. And we're going to cover LEDs today, light emitting diodes, as opposed to incandescent lamps in pinball machines.
Again.
Light emitting diodes come in a lot of different sizes, flavors, colors, everything else. They are generally applicable for the controlled lamp areas, GI areas, and flasher areas. Flashers, however, are 12 volt lamps. Miniature lamps like this are generally the lower voltage commodity. These are 6 to 9 volts. The threshold of these, they get tortured at 14 volts. You can't use these in flashers. And most flashers are more than 14 volts when they peak anyway. What is it?
I'm sorry, what happened?
All right, we're back. I paused on the lamp applications. We have 12 volt LEDs and we have controlled and GI LED voltages. Your 12 volt LEDs come in the variety of large lamp base. That's an 89 lamp base. They also come in wedge base, which is a flasher. That is a flex flasher. There are companies that sell these, many throughout the US, for automotive applications, any kind of application, home. They have strip LEDs. There are companies that sell special purpose lamps for home, business. We're covering the ones that fit in pinball machines mostly here.
Good idea.
But light emitting diodes are good because they consume far less electricity and they put out generally more concentrated light, and the light they put out is varied, unlike incandescent lamps, which are mostly yellow. They have no choice because the filament burns yellow. Even though an incandescent lamp is clear glass, the illumination of it burns yellow. So when you put the option of LED lamps in the machine, you can now have colors. This is cyan, wedge base, and this is blue. They're available in color, so now you open up a new visual. It's stunning visually. You open up a new visual. It's an enhancement.
Upgrade.
It's an enhancement to yellow lamps that go in these machines, which make everything look yellow. Especially the back boxes in these, which have artwork, which lends itself to have colors. Incandescents make all that look yellow. It'll make blue look green and so forth. So that's why the application of these is probably not even a waste of time or money. And these also do not tend to burn out like incandescent lamps. They have a lot more longevity. The expense is more. However, incandescents are now going up in price quite a bit. If you go to any kind of store to buy, especially higher wattage lamps, incandescents, they are almost more than what an LED lamp is.
So you're saying I should bring back the box of used bulbs?
Yeah, box of the smaller wattage bulbs have not been hit. Most of this is driven by the government, by the way. They're trying to enforce and make people more energy efficient by same thing they did with cars. They're mandating more gas mileage in a car. Well, they're mandating more energy efficient lamps.
LEDs make your pinball machine more electronically efficient.
Yeah, it does by a lot. Now, I measured with an amp meter. I was curious after we started doing LEDs years ago. In most pinballs, there are 5 general illumination strings, GI strings. Each one is driven by a device called a track. And it's a heat sink device. They're black. You've seen them, right? Most of your modern WPC pinballs have 5 GI strings. They all are fused for 5 amps each, times 5. before you change the aluminum. Now the important thing about GI strings, by the way, is they're always on. They don't go off. They don't blink. Like flashers blink when they're used. Controls are on and off, so you're not having a steady current demand. These lights are always on. Most back boxes have 40 lamps in them or more. Some of them have close to 50. Well, not only is that hot, but the current draw on each one of them GI legs, or strings as you call them in a book, it's close to 4 amps.
And that leans on several components.
A lot of components, mostly connectors. They burn up. I'm sure people that have repaired these machines are familiar with the J120 and 121 connectors on WPC power driver boards. They burn up with frequency. And I don't care if you use the black connectors or not, because they are more heat resistant. The current demand that these people that manufactured these put on a GI string is far too much. I measured it with an amp meter just out of curiosity, and I found out it draws just short of 5 amps, usually in the range of 4 to 4.1 amps. You GI, replace the GI with LED, you LED the GI, and it goes from 4 amp draw down to probably 1 amp or underneath 1 amp. So you can take 20 amps down to 4 amps at 7 volts AC, which is not a lot, but it means a lot to the machine. So there's practicality as much as visual.
Will this also
here.
take the load off of, say, your power supply and stuff like that?
That's right.
Where all that heat is generated there by those components?
And if you know anything about electronics, when a component gets hot electronically, it does not do what most people think. It doesn't give up and try to draw less current and go into a low draw mode. It does the opposite. It'll want to try to draw more current because it can't get what it wants. And that's why this stuff burns up, because it's the exact opposite. Electronics are the opposite. When you try to starve it, it's going to go after more. That's when it kills itself. That's true anywhere in electronics. Power supplies, lamps, anything. Anyway, these are all good for machines, and we started LEDing machines years ago, and it was like a fledgling industry to small devices. Cars started LEDing stuff years ago before pinballs did. Most cars started LEDing instrument lamps, tail lamps. Anyway, the Generation 1 lamps are here.
That's Generation junk lamps.
Yeah, well, Generation 1 lamps were really this. And there were several styles of them. Some of them actually had a dish shape, but these are more pointy. These are direct spotlight-like looking lamps. They've enhanced the lamp design over the years, and this was their idea of a frosted. This type of thing.
Oh my God.
Now their idea of a frosted is this. It's more opaque.
Which is actually a super with a cover on it.
True. That's true. But
at least from CoinTaker.
Yeah.
CoinTaker's version, which is all we use.
Yeah, we have seen lamps over the years in different manufacturers, and CoinTaker has the best price and selection, and they have the innovation to keep ahead of the curve with what works and what don't. There are a lot of lamps out there that are low-cost junk, and they prey on people to want to sell their bad product.
Yeah.
These things are one of them. If you see this lamp, do not buy it. It's a waste of time and money. It has a distinct little 3 pointy looking. Do not buy it. They burn out quicker than incandescent lamps. I've had repeated problems with those. This is the latest batch I took out, and I threw the rest. I didn't even save all of them.
Nice.
But don't waste your time and money. Buy a quality lamp, and I would suggest CoinTaker, and then shortcut all the problems with it. He sells kits if you're into it. There are...
Kits are for lazy people.
Yeah, a kit is for somebody that may be new into it, that just wants to bang it out and don't want to develop or spend time investigating it. You've developed, as well as I have over the years, using these, a certain technique that you keep learning and changing, and you do have those.
Yeah, those are. Yeah, notice where they are. Those
yeah.
are actually UVs. Those are like little black lights.
Yeah, but it's the same type of lens. This
Yes.
looks like a retro bulb.
Yes, I have some somewhere. I probably.
But you can experiment with lamps. The colors. Generally, you can do a pinball with warms and cools.
Experiment solved. Here is the result of the experiment. On the back box, Ray, you have two. Well, you have one of 4 choices, but it depends on what your socket is.
Right.
You're gonna look in there, okay?
Yeah. We're gonna see here what you
Take a look.
did. What did you do in here?
I don't know. It looks like cools. It looks like all cools.
All cools.
I took out the worst. This was the worst LED job ever.
Now this machine is unusual compared to most because this doesn't have a lot of GI. Circus Voltaire over there has a lot of GI lamps in the back box.
Okay.
But yeah, you did all cools, you know, and it's a matter of taste, you know.
Very simple. Well, listen, if you find that to be a little bit too bright, then you go with warms.
Well, there's one area here, right here, this one. It lines up with probably this explosion thing or close to it.
Okay, what do you want to
could
put a breaker in there or something?
Yeah, you could put a color changer or flasher in there. But this is where it gets into a taste. There is no right or wrong way to do it. You just can play with it.
Don't have time to play with myself.
As an owner or a collector that you can do, and it's kind of friendly to do.
Look at that bulb, Ray. Look at what it does.
Yeah. That is a slow flasher.
Yeah.
And it's a cool white slow flasher, and if you see what it does, it lines up the explosion area a little bit. It's something visual. You could put one here. If you watch the movie, this has a flash in the movie, but this is something you can have fun with. They make color changers. They make slow and fast flashers.
Generally speaking, you're not going to use any of those in the back box. Your back box is going to be all cores or all warm.
Play some bling.
Yeah, well, the artist played with it when they designed it, and the colors are already there. You just need to supply light to them. Ditto for playfield GI. Don't go messing around adding a whole bunch of colors, because what will happen is an area here where we have what is it, red, orange, and yellow.
Right.
Well, if you put any color in there, you'll no longer have red, orange, and yellow. You'll have whatever color you put in there. And that even includes down here where I think the factory put little condoms on there or whatever. Well, throw that shit out.
Maybe they put bulb slip covers to blue ones. Maybe
yeah.
Was it on there?
Well, who knows? But we have brown and yellow there, and the only way to keep that brown and yellow is to go with a solid cool or warm. Cool is going to give you this brighter look. Warm is going to look a little bit more like the original.
It's fun to experiment.
But don't mix and match that either. Use all of one or all of the other.
It'll look like a circus.
Yes, don't fuck with that. There, that covers GI, and GI is the bulbs that are always on.
Right.
With exception of like some of these System 11
Control
Gs
GI.
or whatever, where they flicker, but even same thing.
There are very...
Did you say hi to everybody in this particular
No, I didn't.
version of this episode?
Hello, YouTube.
Hi, everybody.
No, we were doing something.
Oh, yeah. You know, I put the dog in the car.
Yeah, that's what it is. Oh, jeez. She's chewing. Yeah, you better check on
Yeah, I'm
that.
going to check on her. Talk about controlled lamps a little bit. Get it right.
Didn't I get it right before you deleted it?
I don't know.
The dog needed to have us delete it. All right, controls are the ones that the MPU sends pulses to give you a demo of the game when it's setting in a track mode, and also during gameplay when you achieve features of the machine. There are controlled lamps that light up, and line up with the thing you're doing, like shooting a ramp or extra ball or something. Controls are different in the fact that you have a lens you're shining through, so a frosted lamp is not necessary in most cases.
You'll see somebody will put them in when they don't have the proper bulb to put in. and just
Some
put them in
controlled
whatever.
lamps require flex because the lamp base has to go sideways, and you can't put a bulb that shines the wrong way because it won't come up into the lens.
Okay, well the factory did that, by the way.
Yeah, they didn't care. That's why.
But you'll use.
That's a flex. It has wires on the end of the. Hold it. Yeah, wires on the end of the lamp, and you can point it and do what you want. And they come in all colors and 555 and 44 lamp bases, which is a bayonet is a 44 and a 555 is a wedge base. But when you get into controls, there is a choice. You have to use premiums. If you don't, you run the risk of having what they call ghosting, where it's a LED that turns not on, but partially on, and it's enough of an objection. Like, is the light, did I like that feature or didn't I? So it's like a bleed over. An LED has a small threshold of turn on. It doesn't take much current and much voltage to turn an LED on. An incandescent has a threshold that's a way lot higher. You will not even see an incandescent come on in this application, and when you replace it with an LED, if you don't use a premium LED, you run the risk of it partially turning on. So if you replace 50 of these, you're going to see a pretty good bleed over, and it's objectionable.
Okay, there's a couple of little side notes to that. They'll also flicker too. They also come on and off faster than they should, and they'll do all kinds of weird little things. There is an aftermarket board available to address that.
Yeah.
We address it by using premiums and find that.
Right.
And find that.
You can find that person on the website. I forget the name of his company, but he was at Downingtown 1 or 2 years at the pinball show, and then he stopped doing the shows because his internet business got pretty big.
Okay.
He makes a circuit board that costs in the neighborhood of 99 to 150
Okay.
for any WPC or any other game that needs it. If you Google pinball LED ghosting board fix, you'll get his company. I forget what it's called.
Similar board change required on old Bally's.
Yeah, Old Bally's, Alltech is a company that long ago come out with the ultimate MPU board because there was no answer for fixing the old 1980s Bally MPU boards. So Alltech came out with the ultimate replacement board. They progressed and came out with other products. One of the other products is called the Ultimate LED board, Ultimate LED lamp board. It will do incandescents or LEDs in any early Bally Williams or early Bally game.
Do you have to hook up a jumper on it or something?
Yes, you have to do one little wire mod, and you have to tap off of something in the back box area.
And that's also for the older Sterns.
But it's very easy to do, and it's self-explanatory and it has instructions.
It's for the older Sterns and Bally's.
Yes,
right?
correct.
Both
Because they're parallel each other. Yeah.
One thing we see on these WPC games is that you can get away with the Generation 2 bulbs if you're using an original power driver board.
Yeah, for some reason it clamps it.
But then you feel like a real jerk when your power driver fails and you put a new one in and your Generation 2 bulbs are now ghosting like crazy.
Yeah, generally Rotten Dog boards do not clamp them LEDs like the original boards did. And some original boards still ghost because of a component failure on it. I never spent the time to find out what, because I really don't.
Well, we usually have been able to, when we've been forced to try to find it, we trace it to a bad diode or leaking diode.
Yeah, and it'll cause a whole matrix column.
That whole section.
Yeah, a column or row of lamps to do that.
So that a premium solves all of the above.
They cost more, but
except for the old Bally's.
Yeah, they cost more, but it's done. You just buy them and you're done.
Okay. Now, this being the second version of this particular video, we did the back box, we did the GI, we said hello to everybody. We talked about junk bulbs. Did we talk about junk bulbs?
Somewhat. I pointed out the one I recently had a problem with.
Did you see what this Johnny had in it when it came in?
No, you got to
I'll put that picture up there. It was brutal. Here is the rule, or the set of rules for doing controlled lamps. White for white, cool white for clear and white.
Well, there's two kinds of white lamps. There's warm and cool. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. Warm looks more yellow.
Yes.
Cool definitely is a pale white like this. This is cool. It is a ghost white. Warm white is more of like an incandescent looking bulb, but not quite because it's an LED. You can tell it's an LED. because of the it diffuses light better. LEDs diffuse light better than incandescents. Okay, an incandescent bulb doesn't really have a good diffusion to it. If you want that, you have to do something with the glass around.
It's got a hot spot.
Yeah. These have good diffusion. LEDs, you can see the light scatter. By the way, that's what diffusion is. It is the scatter of light. And you want to use frosteds here, not supers, because a super tends to be a spotlight. Frosted, the dome, which underneath of it, it's a super, but the dome.
It's a diffuser.
Yeah, that's right.
So white for white.
Effect is everything.
Cool white for white, unless you are deliberately trying to change the color of something, i.e. the reflex test on Dr. Dude, or the pop bumpers there, or if you're deliberately trying.
That's bright.
Yes, that is an LED flasher.
This is called a log LED flasher. This thing is super bright. Without the lens on it, you'd have dots in your eyes for a while, because this has, what, five supers.
They offer varying levels of ridiculousness with those, by the way.
Oh yeah, they got some that are double log.
Those are all ultra ridiculous. Okay, we did the whites and the clears. Everything else you can get away with using warm white. You can use warm white for yellows, greens, blues, oranges. What other colors are there? Cyans. This machine is done in all warm whites.
And the reds look really good.
Thank you.
You know, the reason is these lenses are already colored.
Yes.
If you put a red in here, it's really
It's red dirt. Yes.
It's overdriven, actually.
I don't mind doing it.
No.
The reason I did it this way is because I was out of stock of some bulbs.
Well, bring it over there. Now, I did do this in colors.
Okay, I redid some of this one for you.
Okay, you didn't do all of it, did you?
I don't know. I redid whatever it was that I didn't like. The glasses on it, I can't see
I did this
slot.
in color. I used purple there.
Yeah. Well, down here is an example of those are white,
Right.
but you used looks like purple in there.
Yes, I did. I just like that. Cool white makes that area way too in your face.
Well, you should see the effect that this looks like filming it, because it doesn't really look like it does on film. Filming LEDs is tough.
Yeah,
The refresh rate is.
Yeah, well, no, it's
it's the same problem that you have with filming displays.
TV.
Yeah. So, cool white for white, warm white for everything else.
I used all cools here.
Now, if you want to go away from that rule and use blue for blues and green for greens
Have at it.
and red for reds, have at it. But stop at that point. Do not use them. Yellows and oranges. Test it if you want. Yellows and oranges.
Almost ineffective.
Yellows and oranges look worse than standard incandescent bulbs.
Because that color doesn't generate the lumens that the
For whatever reason, there's no need to use them ever. Warm whites for those.
So it's not a common sense thing like, oh, I got a yellow lamp, I'm going to put a yellow lens in it.
I used to do that.
I know. Well, you learn when doing, and then.
And I look at it and I go, wow, how come all of this looks great except for that section?
Right. So CoinTaker is who we will point people toward to buy their LED lamps.
Quality and service.
Has a nice website. Quality and service is right.
They have a lot of nice little neat trinkets too, like pop bumper lights.
They're coming out with innovative stuff.
And
cabinet button lights. Bring that kid over here. Yeah.
They did their flipper button lights.
I like that.
They do a real nice job with these now.
Yeah,
these are nice.
yeah, these are different. This is a next generation of theirs. First, you use a clear cabinet button, but these are a lot nicer than the first generation of their lamps. You can see close. This is a double, but this is the flipper cabinet lamp, and you can see that it has circular LEDs, and they're very small. They're different than the regular super, and they actually follow the outline of the clear cap. That's neat.
When calling CoinTaker with your order, please mention that you saw their product here.
Yes.
We and them would both appreciate that.
Yeah, it helps tie in the business to another business.
Well, they know we're doing this.
Yeah.
And it's,
We've supported them from day one.
And it's not a compensated thing, it's just we appreciate the way that they do business with us, and, and so we want to, well, and we've encountered all the other product.
We learned what was bad and what was good. Yeah.
So, oh, there's under cabinet kits.
Strip lights.
Right,
Yeah.
there's those. What else do they have that's kind of neat?
Well, the speaker panel lights they don't do they? It's not like the speaker mount. I did this first. This is great. I give this a 5. This is a neat effect.
Okay.
I give it a 5 for installation and a 5 for appearance.
It went in easy?
Yeah, I've done a few of these in other Sterns, like Sopranos, where they have a gun and they have a white light behind it, but this is green to match this color of the artwork in the cabinet. But these panels come with it and they're green, and when you have the lights on, background light, you can see these are bright green. And then of course you've got backlit green, so you get the double effect. It's really neat. Oh, they do the back box kits.
Oh, the back box lighting
the
mods,
Stern
yeah.
back box kits they do are neat. They have a light show with strip LEDs for your flasher areas in like Elvis we did, AC/DC, we did a few of them. And
Hulk. We got them from CoinTaker, which sponsors our YouTube show, which will be back up eventually.
right, this is his lighting kit.
Yes.
It hooks to the flasher circuit in the machine, and it also has its own standby program
Man, would you talk about it a little bit more?
in a track mode. Well, it's under cabinet and back box lighting. You take out the fluorescent mechanism, and well, the bulb, I left the lamp holders in there,
Okay.
and I just tied them back in case he wants to restore that, but
Right.
I wouldn't if you go to...
That looks
This
beyond
is a,
awesome.
It is a panel that Chris makes up at CoinTaker for machines.
We love CoinTaker. They sponsor
Like the
our show.
Sterns, and this is what it's comprised of. If you can film that, it's bright.
Yeah, it's going to look a little goofy, but yeah.
But this is the pattern he does custom for each machine, and you can see he color codes and places according to the back box artwork, and then
Yeah, what happened here, Ray, is our customer fell for the okie doke from one of CoinTaker's competitors
Yeah.
and sent some pile of garbage
You know,
that you know, I'll reuse it in something like this piece of junk alien poker over there. You know, I'll reuse the bulbs in something crappy. They don't belong.
this is the workings.
They don't
It just
belong in a
simply
machine
comes
like this.
out. This is a controller. This goes to under cabinet lights, and this is the back box.
Right.
And it plugs in here. It goes to J6 on the power driver board.
That's neat.
And then your flashers continue on to the game, and it's interactive with the gameplay.
It very is.
And this runs its own program, and that's the heart of it, you know, and it's easily removable for servicing.
Shout out to Stern. Step up. They should be. That should be stock in these machines.
Yeah. It has two connections, 12 volts, and it goes to here. And then 12 volts I tied into up
Yeah,
here.
you had to alter the wiring on it a little bit just because of the number of mods that were in
Yeah,
this.
otherwise you could run that down to the front
Right.
here.
It was pre-wired to be easier plug and play than it was, just based on the fact that we've got too many mods on this
Right,
thing.
and this is the 12 volt power supply.
Okay. Well, put it back together. Mark has been extremely patient with us getting to this thing. As you know, we got other things going on. We are moving the store and all this other stuff that's going on. Here, I'll help you.
Yeah.
Installation on this was not too tough, was it?
No.
Pretty straightforward.
Hardest part is being underneath the cabinet,
Yeah.
putting everything underneath there. This is easy to do here. Some people just get this. You don't have to get the under cabinet with it.
Right.
They just get the back box. And this is a piece of foam board that he mounts this on, and you just, that's simply it.
Okay, well, put the glass back in there and let's do one final thing on this. We're going to wrap it up, and it's on its way to Mark with a whole lot of thanks. And a whole lot of thanks to our sponsors, CoinTaker. We love those guys and girls up there. You want to rate that mod on a scale of 1 to 10, man? Wow.
I'd give it an 8 or 9 because it's easy and it looks great.
It's about as cool as it gets, man.
Yeah. Really. I like that it runs itself and you don't have to set it in one color mode. The little controller runs its own light show when you're in standby.
Yep.
And when in gameplay, the flashers.
Okay, show us. You've played pinball before. I don't want to play, but you play.
Greetings! What news from Midgard do you bring?
Isn't it beautiful?
Just about to start rooting for you.
That is
Hi, Chris and Melissa. I think we're done with CoinTaker, and I think we're done with LEDs. Is that?
Yeah.
That cover the whole thing? I see an LED out. Do you see it? In your right slingshot.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Just need to.
Yeah.
Oh, how about the prepping of an LED bulb? When you get one of these little cheapy things, even though if it's a good one from CoinTaker, these are still made in China.
Well, first off, your cheapy bulbs have 2 wires. One here and one here at the opposite end of the lamp.
Okay.
You must put them in the right direction. It won't hurt the LED, but it won't light.
Generation.
And you'll be, the generation 1s. They've now, the good companies have learned that you now put a double leg, 2 on this side, 2 on that side.
Okay.
What that does is you can't put it in backwards. Now this only applies to a wedge base 555 lamp.
Okay.
Your bayonets, they're already done. But yeah, you should prep these lamps when you get them, because during shipping these little contact wires get bent toward the center. Well, a lamp socket is made for incandescent, and it only picks up toward the outer edges of the. So if you look, and you'll see a lamp like that, where the wire is there, you want to make it like this. So now that's right, they're on the outside. You don't want them near the inside or it won't light and you'll drive yourself crazy taking bulbs in and out. The other thing to remember about LED lamps, since the plastic socket is not glass, it's thicker. These can be hard to get in compared to glass. So you really have to get them in straight or you'll break the lamp socket. They could start to make these thinner, and I think they have, because the earlier ones were really impossible. These are getting better. But they are a little tougher, and because they're not glass, they're not as thin, and then the glass tends to slide in the lamp base quicker. This only pertains to wedge base. The plastic can be a little tough, but once you do these, you get LED hand fingers. And you know how to do them.
LED fingers?
Yeah, you got to be on your game. When you plug these in, you got to get straight on. You got to push it in. They can be tough. Of course, the controls have removable sockets, so you can do it by hand. But when you're going into a back box area where you have to be at an angle, you got to plug it in straight. So, I would guess. What are you doing, Cletus?
I'm looking for something. I figured you were just kind of talking over there.
Well, I was just saying some of the differences you find when you get into LED lamps with the architecture of them, how they're made. They are made the same diameter or smaller, so they will fit through the playfield and in holes. The earlier ones were big, thick ones, and you had to put them in from the top. They responded to that by making them better. So it's a growth thing. And of course, LEDs are making their way into life everywhere, home, car, any device. They do now make LED displays as opposed to your plasma display, which is off the beaten path of LED lamps, but it's kind of a thing that's going to stay here. It's not going to be like, what ain't going to be like, Mike? Laser disc. It's not going to fade away.
Laser disc?
Yeah, imagine that. When you do LED a machine, like this one I'm standing in front of, which is a Circus Voltaire, it's a WPC 95 or WPC 89, those 2 generations of Bally Williams, you must turn off power saver, and you must turn off, what's the other one, Mike?
Dim illumination.
Yeah, dim illumination on the adjustment menu, because
LEDs don't dim.
you don't need to dim LEDs, and when you do dim them, they flicker and they don't look right, and you don't need to dim them because you don't. The reason these people did that in the industry was they knew they were burning up stuff back then, so they programmed software in to help it. It didn't help it. You wake up the machine by pushing the flipper button, and now your currents are all the way back up, and it even still burns up anyway on dim. So when you do your LED job, if you LED your back box GI and your playfield GI, you have to turn off power saver and dim LED, dim illumination. Turn that both off. You don't need them anymore. And that'll prevent the machine from looking like it's shorted out. Other than that, I don't really have anything else to say about choosing LEDs over incandescents. The argument in the early days was, well, they cost so much. Well, they really don't cost that much anymore. What is starting to cost more is a box of incandescent lamps. They aren't near what they used to be in price. They're always going up. The same thing with your plasma displays. They used to be $100. Now they're up around $200. All these power devices like incandescent lamps and such are all going up in price because this new stuff is just a better thing. It's almost like a recycle thing. It's almost like a green thing. Everybody's green anymore. They want to do green. They want to recycle. This is what that is. It's all driven, government driven. It is. This fluorescent overheads, old tech anymore.
Okay.
LEDs are replacing all these power hungry things.
Was this episode any good?
I don't know.
Last week's turned out better than I
Why don't
expected.
you wait and see what the vote is?
But I did upset somebody. The vote turned out last week better than I expected because I thought last week's episode was kind of shitty.
You always upset Mike.
But this guy
Does it.
This guy says he wants to talk about your show.
Okay, go ahead.
His name is Harold Stuff.
Harold Stuff.
And this guy's a fucking moron. Now this post wasn't on our video. This was on another channel's video. This guy thought it was necessary to post on somebody else's channel.
About us. Okay.
But then Retro Refurbs, aka Pinball, alerted me to this, and he said,
Oh, our posse?
yes, he said you wanted to see this. Harold Stuff said, I wonder why those fools at GRC are so bitter about all of you. They say you do shoddy workmanship and sell crap. I think it comes down to one thing though. Jealousy. You sell lots of games, have a great YouTube channel. They sell bugger all and whatever the fuck that is. And their channel sucks. Their last video shows their jealousy at its best.
No, don't. Stay tuned. We got more of Feed That
You got
Imbecile.
More, you got more for that?
Sure.
Imbecile.
First off, the statement is irrelevant. Selling mass quantities of junk still means you sell fucking mass quantities of junk.
Whoa.
I've known this dude over there for years, and he's consistent about being the same.
I gotta go check on the dog.
You better.
What were you saying?
No, I nothing. But anyway, to address that comment, no, there's no jealousy. How could I be jealous of somebody's poor work? I do best work I can. I'm conscientious about it. Then people rip people off. I'm trying to educate these buyers of people like who he's mentioning, because those are the people that rip people off. Jealous? No, not at all.
No.
What's there to be jealous of? Why don't you, Harold Stuff, why don't you buy a couple of machines from him, see what the hell you get? Then come back and tell me how rosy you are with him. That's all I got to say.
Okay, good.
But jealousy, no. Our function here is
You're still on that?
Our function here is to educate people, and
You gave that guy way more attention than you deserve.
I didn't give him. I'm giving everybody advice on how to buy and how to not be taken by wasting your time and money.
Pete made a video of his hook on 3 legs with one of the rear legs off.
This is no ordinary pinball, because it's a pinball on 3 legs.
I'm trying to get him to stop.
Stop.
Yes. We had committed to and are not going to do, but I guess you can talk about it a little bit if you want. Per the request of magnet core replacements, I don't really know how to
Solid.
address the question. Magnet cores. What do you know about magnet cores? You ever have trouble getting one out or getting one in, or what'd you do?
No, generally they go through the wood and they're round, about as big around as a nickel. They are the center of a circular magnet, and the magnet that these people use in these playfields, like Adam's Family, there's a lot of pins that use playfield magnets.
He has a World Cup soccer, which I've never seen the game.
Yeah, it was made in '94, I think.
Although he did put up a video of his game, and it's very nice looking. He did a nice job with it.
The magnet core, well, first off, the magnet has a hole through it, but the ball doesn't travel through the hole like a high-speed 2, which is a rectangular magnet. The round magnets that go in these things, like Adams and Circus, you probably have one that show. They generally measure around 3 ohms. They're powerful magnets, and they're momentary.
Yeah?
There's a steel round post riveted to a metal bracket, and it looks like a T assembly when you look at it. But the round metal post that sticks up through the wooden playfield, the ball runs over it and actually wears the metal out after so many years. So you really have to, yeah, this is an example of it coming through there. If you have a worn out bracket that goes through the magnet, I imagine that metal is available as an assembly. If you look at what I did here, of course we replaced the mini playfield here.
Yeah?
The round metal magnet core, or whatever, that actually, you could call it an armature. It goes through the magnet, it sticks up about 1.5 inches from the underneath, and then it's flush to the top of the playfield. That wears because the ball comes across and then the magnet turns on, and it's almost like a metal wear after a while. It didn't look anything like this. What I did with that is I belt sanded the top of it and I polished it. I did several kinds of belt sanding grits to get it smooth, and then it looks like chrome.
What's it say on the screen there?
Oh, look at that. It's blinking. Anyway, that metal that the guy's wanting to know about is available new, or you can reshape your old one. They leave plenty of metal on it. This is still above the surface.
Okay, we have just enough time left to do this little final recap. I hope you've enjoyed this week's episode. It's a little bit difficult to do a tech tips on something that you're not physically doing.
Sure.
And that is going to determine what our topics are going to be in the future. Your folks are going to get to see whatever it is, Ray, that you're working on. If we're not replacing a magnet core, I'm sorry, I can't show you how to replace a magnet core. I don't have that job sitting here to do.
It's done already.
Yes, it's done already. And that goes for we got another request for coin doors again. Coin doors are I don't really know how to address that. We're doing those all the time.
I'm doing 2 currently at home.
Yeah, well maybe we'll visit you on that. And the reason I bring this up is I think we're out of topics. I had 3 for this season, and this is episode 3. I have no more topic ideas. I can show you how to run an eBay store. I'm doing a pretty good job of that.
Yeah, you are.
I don't think people want to see how to run an eBay store.
No, I don't think.
That's probably not very interesting.
No.
So we're going to have to fall back on an old friendly, which is whatever it is that you're working on. I'm going to rely on you a little bit to hopefully during the week kind of hone that into having something ready, whatever it is. Because to just stand here and talk about something does not make a very good video. We need to actually physically show people how to do something.
We could show people how to play pinball with your hand.
So we made it 3 weeks, Ray, and I'm assuming we're going to be back next week.
I'd have to ask Todd about how to do it.
Oh my God. You should have seen his response to that guy. He didn't even address his question. That was great.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, everybody. Please leave a comment or say hello or give us some sort of feedback. We do appreciate that. We do read them. And we...
Yes, acknowledge it.
Yeah, and it helps us to continue to keep trying to do this. Again, I was not feeling it this week, Ray. But that's nothing new. Did we say hi to Pete? Pete! What else you got, Ray? Is that it? Okay. Can we do it again next week?
Do it again!
With the surprise topic of, we don't know yet, but it's going to be something good.
Ooh, surprise topic.
Thank you for tuning in, everybody. We appreciate you a whole lot, and we'll see you again very soon.
Bye.